That is why it is my honor to introduce the new director of our Minority Outreach Program. Please welcome Miss Stacey Dash.
I cannot wait to help my people out. Happy Black History Month. Thank you.
Thank you. But enough about black people.
So it's definitely been a pretty wild past couple of years for award shows. And I'm not just talking about the typical stuff like Drake being moist.
But most of all, we love the woman who hasn't changed since day one.
Or Kanye being Kanye. I'm talking about the shift that's happened regarding how we view award shows and the importance we place on them, particularly the ones we consider to be the most prestigious.
The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences hosts a little show every year called the Oscars.
The winner is Charlie Pride sings Heart Songs of Charlie Pride.
And by prestigious, I mean the Oscars, the Grammys, the Emmys, basically the award shows we look at to reflect the epitome of cinematic, musical, and television excellence. These are the awards that most performing artists strive for, and the awards that we as the general public look at as markers of great achievement.
Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to all of you in this room. I have to congratulate the other incredible nominees this year.
I mean, we were all rooting for Leo to get that Oscar, even if you didn't watch The Revenant, even if you didn't watch the Oscars, which most people did not. And the same goes for the Emmys and the Grammys. The fact of the matter is, most people just don't give a crap about award shows. And this is despite the fact that the average person in North America spends literally hundreds of hours and dollars on music, movies, and television. You would think in an industry that takes up so much of our time and our money, we would care more. But most people don't care much about who wins Best Actor or Best Picture. And it isn't as though the movies that tend to be the most popular or the highest grossing are the ones that get nominated. I mean, just consider Marvel. They've dominated the box office for nearly a decade, and they've never gotten that Best Picture nomination. And this, to me, is for obvious reasons. I mean, people just like what they like, and they don't need the so-called Academy sitting in a room and deciding what can and cannot be considered good art. Because that's what music, movies, and television are. They're art. And as we know, art is subjective. So at the height of award show season, with the Grammys around the corner and the Oscars not far ahead, we ask ourselves, why even bother with award shows? Why should anyone pay attention in the first place? I'd argue that award shows hold more cultural, social, and political significance than we often give them credit for, particularly in our increasingly political climate.
I'm the biggest hypocrite in 2015.
Because at the end of the day, the point of art is to inspire and to reflect society. And the art that gets elevated and awarded says a lot about the direction the society is headed in. Award shows actually have a very long history of being used as political platforms. In 1973, the actor Marlon Brando famously used his nomination for Best Actor in the movie Godfather as an opportunity to elevate Native American voices. He allowed an indigenous woman, Sacheen Littlefeather, to accept the award on his behalf.
Hello, my name is Sacheen Littlefeather.
She used the opportunity to bring attention to the plight of indigenous Americans, bringing attention to the realities of the violence they suffer under colonial occupation and rule.
Very long speech, which I cannot share with you presently.
Recently, you could point to the activism at the Golden Globes regarding the Me Too movement combating sexual violence and sexual assault. But what's a bit more interesting is to focus on award shows not as a platform for protest, but as a point of protest themselves. 1989 was actually the very first year that rap music was afforded its own category at the Grammys. Up until that point, rap had not really been considered an art form worthy of being accoladed. Even then, the Grammys decided against televising the award being given. In response, the nominated rappers, including Will Smith, LL Cool J, and Public Enemy, did not attend that year as a means of protest. The category was televised the following year.
We boycotted the 1989 Grammy show. We don't have a problem with the Grammy as an award or the Grammy as an institution. We just had a problem with the 1989 design of the award show.
And of course, in 2015, we had our very first instance of Oscars So White, a campaign directed at addressing the lack of diversity within the nominees that year, as well as within the Academy itself. But again, why all of this effort for something that doesn't even necessarily reflect the ideals of the general public? Awards may not hold much power in terms of the view of the general public, but they do hold a lot of power in terms of Hollywood. When a movie or an album or a TV show wins an award, it creates an incentive for more of this type of work to be produced. Its creators are more likely to receive funding, bigger budgets, access to top-tier production companies. It's why we see so many movies being made about the Second World War, because those tend to win awards, and why we see so many Black historical biopics, because those tend to win awards, and why we see so many period dramas, because those tend to win awards. And this is the kind of media that tends to be reproduced and reproduced and reproduced. And media is powerful. In fact, it's considered to be one of the major agents of socialization alongside your family and your peer group. That means the media you consume on a daily basis impacts your perception of the world and yourself and the people around you just as much as your family and friends. But unlike your family and friends, media is socialization on a mass scale. And Hollywood, as well as the American music and television industry, produce the majority of the media that is consumed worldwide. The impact of media on the individual is well documented. So many of your perceptions about the world are shaped by the media that you consume. Whether or not you're represented in the media and how you're represented shapes your views and your beliefs about your culture, your identity, your country, your gender, your race. And for most of us, the media we consume, and therefore a good chunk of our socialization, is being controlled by a small group of people. People who may care more about profit and maintaining the status quo than they do about fair or accurate representation. So what exactly can we as consumers do to ensure better representation? Well, we can follow our predecessors and simply demand it. After the Oscars So White campaign, we saw a sizable shift regarding diversity in award shows across the board. Most notably, we saw the prominence of the movie Moonlight, a film written and directed by a Black man, winning Best Picture over La La Land, what many would consider to be a prototypical Oscar-winning movie. And though I can't say this for sure, I genuinely don't believe that this would have happened if not for the campaigns that had taken place in the previous years. It just goes to show the influence the public can have over what is deemed to be good art, not just in terms of what we spend our money on, but also in terms of what we push and campaign for. But first, we have to pay attention. Now, I know award shows are not the be-all and end-all of representation, but they play a sizable role, and it's up to us not to be passive consumers, but to actively play a role in shaping the media that actively plays a role in shaping us. Thank you guys so much for watching my very first video on this channel. If you made it all the way through, bless you. Yeah, I hope to make more videos like this on this channel about media and sociology and pop culture, so I hope you guys stay tuned, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
You, the audience, we love you. Artists, we talk about you all of the time. We're constantly trying to figure out what you like, how to serve you. I just want to, please don't play me off, Reginald. Reggie Hudlin, do not play me off. I've got to say these names. I've got to say and I've got to honor Shonda. Right? Shonda with Scandal and Grays and Black and How to Get Away with Murder. Kenya Barris, he's got Blackish and Grownish right now. Misha Green, who gave us Underground. Gina Prince Bythewood, who gave us Shots Fired. George Wolfe, who gave us Henrietta Lacks. Donald Glover with Atlanta. Courtney Kemp with Power. Lee Daniels with Empire and Star. Justin Simeon with Dear White People. Janine Shannon Barros with Claws. Lena Waithe with The Shy. And That's Just TV. Jordan and Barry with Get Out and Moonlight. Dee Reese with Mudbound. Stella McGee, Everything. Malcolm Lee with Girls Trip. And there are new things on the horizon. I got 4 words for you. Ryan Coogler's Black Panther. It's coming. Okay? And 3 weeks after Panther, another hero takes the stage. It's a little black girl. I'm not going to get emotional. A little black girl with glasses. She saves the universe from darkness that seems to be all around us. It's called A Wrinkle in Time. It's a love letter that I've made for family and community and the best in ourselves. This is our time. We can say we were here when all this gorgeous art was happening and that we supported it, that we lifted each other up, that we did as Dr. King said he would do,